Hello, everybody. It is Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. It's your number one tennis betting podcast and YouTube show brought to you in association with Bet Rivers. I'm Nigel Seeley. As you can see, different backdrop, different place. I'm over in Dubai for the WTA, it was last week, ATP 500 event. I'll be there tomorrow. You can follow me on our socials at Because We Win. Before you follow me on socials, please hit the subscribe button on this channel. Lots of new subscribers join us. A good week last week with our winning pick of Sebastian Korda winning in Delray Beach, and hopefully we can cash some tickets throughout the week as well. Good afternoon, Sean. How are you, mate?
I'm all right, thank you. Yeah, I've been the victim of another robbery overnight, of course. I don't know whether you saw Pedro Martinez last night added to the list of massively long minus money losers from an incredible winning position. I don't know whether you saw that one. You probably didn't. It was probably in the middle of the night, your time.
I don't know what time, I don't even know what day of the week it is at the moment. I was 8 hours on the flight, up this morning. I couldn't sleep, no sleep. Working here now, rushing around tonight. I'm betting weekly live tonight. Never give up. Never stop.
No rest for the wicked. No rest for the wicked. But I mean, yeah, we had another one, didn't we? We've had about three or four absolute shockers now. Hercash 100 to 1 on in play, lost. Rinderknecht just had to serve a game out against Tsitsipas, hit 2 double faults. That was about -$7 in play. Martinez was, I'm not sure exactly what price he was, but he served for the match in the third last night, had a match point, lost in a final set tie break. Giron should have beaten Rude. So, yeah, not too happy about some of the bad beats we've had at the minute. But it always seems to happen when you get an outright winner. You get about 3 or 4 shockingly bad beats on the match bets. But
it's not all doom and gloom, Sean. We had the winner. We've had Sebastian Korda win at 13 to 1.
You asked me how I was.
Positives.
That's the answer. That was Sunday. This is Monday. You know, it doesn't take long to go sort of up, down, up, down in this business. But the short answer to your question is I'm fine. The spring has finally sprung here in Britain. So all good, mate, all good.
We have a few matches today to discuss for tomorrow's action. And unfortunately, we haven't got anything here in Dubai because it's like a strange system. You play today and you know the matches later on today. Then they play in the evening, so it's quite difficult for us to cover Dubai. But if you want any bets in Dubai, you can follow me on our socials. And a bad day today, I bet Zizou Bergs. I had quite a few quid on him actually to beat Brooksby. The weather was perfect. It's really hot here actually. It's a lot hotter. And I thought the outside court, first game on, hottest conditions, everything perfect for him, and he didn't turn up.
He didn't serve, did he? I don't know whether it was that bicep injury that he had last week. I didn't see all of that match, but I saw bits of it. The bits where Bergs was having a meltdown, calling the supervisor and having a warning for foul and abusive language and all that. And just looking at the stats, he was serving at about 47%. It's not going to get it done, is it, against anybody? 47%. I mean, Brooksby played well, to be fair, not knocking that, but 47% first serve. It's been a problem for Bergs periodically throughout his career, and maybe that bicep injury, I don't know, but yeah, you aren't going to win it. You aren't going to win a match serving like that.
I got fined for foul and abusive language watching it here in the resort.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Well, some of the language coming out of my and I'm joking, obviously joking. We have some matches though. We're not covering Dubai, as I said, but there is 2 tournaments going on, one in Acapulco and one in Santiago. And I suppose the first thing we have to talk about with the Acapulco tournament is when we recorded on Sunday, we never knew of the problems over in Mexico, and I suppose a lot of players. I haven't kept abreast of what's happening there. I'm sure you do over there a little bit more than me, but there's been a few shocks already, and I don't know if a lot of players want to get out of that tournament quickly and get across to Indian Wells and practice. I certainly think that if I was a professional tennis player, which I'm not, I'd probably want to get to Indian Wells and get out there as quick as I possibly can. And maybe is that in the way of thinking a little bit in your bet today?
It's in the back of my mind, yeah, because I did say with Diminor, I mean, forgetting all that for a second, I did say with Diminor, is he just turning up here for the appearance fee? Because he's really busted gut to win this title before and had nothing left for Indian Wells. Maybe that was half in his mind, thinking, I'm not doing this again and wrecking my chances at Indian Wells. The other half of his mind might be thinking about, the situation, keeping himself safe and all that, but it's difficult to tell when you're not there, isn't it? It's obviously Mexico is a massive country. I don't believe what's going on is that close to where they are in Acapulco, but it could pop up there, couldn't it? It could start happening there. I'm not massively familiar with the situation, but it's quite possible. It's a worry, certainly, if you're out there as a player. Maybe you've got your family with you as well, like Zverev normally does. It's certainly a way of thinking. Acapulco doesn't normally produce many underdog winners, but perhaps this year could be different.
I actually had a little double yesterday. I opposed Diminor, and I also bet about it. His partner Katie Bolter to get beat. He was also playing in Merida in Mexico, and I read an article about the two of them she won. So I got the one part right. She was playing Beatrice Ademar. I thought that might have a chance, but she won. So great thinking.
Maybe that's
losing money.
Yeah, maybe that's You would think if that theory was true, then Bolter would lose as well and get out of there with Diminor. You would think.
That was my theory. But anyway, we'll see what happens.
I don't know. Maybe we're thinking too deeply into it. I don't know. But yeah, it's a line of thought that for sure.
Yeah, and let's move on to the matches that we have to discuss here. Like I say, we've got 3 matches in Acapulco and 1 in Santiago. Let's start with the match in Acapulco. It's quite an evenly bet match. It's Adrian Mannarino up against Shimabukuro. Is that right? Shimabukuro? No,
I would say Shimabukuro.
You know what, I would say. Listen, I can't pronounce the players at the best of time, and I'm trying to do this show without my glasses on. Now I can see Shimabukuro. Shimabukuro,
whatever. Yeah.
Now I've got my glasses on, I can see it, but I'm trying to be all vain and not doing my glasses, and that's why. And I've got a small screen. So anyway, forgive me for that. So I'm going to do this show with them. Yeah, I'm going to do them with them anyway. Let's have a look at these matches. Adrian Mannarino hasn't won a match yet on hardcourt in 2026. Shimabukuro is doing okay. 9 wins to his 13 different matches. The odds here are Adrian Mannarino is the favourite, -143 at Bet Rivers. I suppose that's on reputation rather than anything else. Shimabukuro is +117. Spread is 1.5. Total here is 22.5, and a whole host of different markets available on the Bet Rivers app, and you can live stream this match as well. What's your thoughts on this one?
I think it's a chance for the Japanese player, without pronouncing his name. I think it's a good chance for him. I mean, conditions not great for Mannarino. Look at what he's done in Acapulco: 4 wins, 10 losses, service points won and return points won, total of 97. Only held serve 70% of the time here, winning fewer than 60% of service points. It's understandable because it's slow, it's bouncy, it's hot, it's humid. It's nothing like Mannarino wants. He wants it quick, slick, low bouncing. Totally the wrong conditions for him, which explains his poor record here. The question is, can Shimabukuro take his chances? He had his chances against Marcos Giron in Delray Beach, but he took 0 out of 9 breakpoint chances. Particularly in the first set, he was competitive there, having beaten Adam Walton comfortably. So he's playing a good level. Because before that, he lost in a final set tiebreak against Kecmanovic in Dallas. So a very, very good level, just not taking his chances a couple of times there. Prior to that, he made the semi-finals of the San Diego Challenger, losing to the eventual champion, which was Zvider, who ironically he just beat by retirement last night to make the main draw here in Acapulco. So things are going well for him. He's 28 years of age, but he's maybe a little bit of a late developer because he's at a peak ranking now of 130. That's his highest career ranking. He's shown no obvious weakness against left-handers, won 4 of his last 5 matches against left-handers, not at main level, but he hasn't had that many chances at main level. So there's not really a question mark there, given that he's won 4 of his last 5. If we look at just the last 10 main level matches that these two have played, it's actually Shimabukuro who's got slightly better numbers. Service points won and return points won, total of 96.8 in his last 10 compared to Mannarino's 95.6. So there's not a lot that's enticing me about -143 on Mannarino. I mean, he does have a very funky style, Mannarino. He can make it awkward for players. There's not many players that play like he does. But you would think a physical battle in high heat, high humidity, it's still going to be about 29 degrees. A real feel of 28, 29 degrees at like 10, 11 o'clock at night in Acapulco. So it's very hot, very humid. It's a slow court. He's 38 years of age in a few months' time. Mannarino. It doesn't look like a great situation for me. Shimabukuro has obviously come through qualies, but not used much energy to do it. A quick first match, and then obviously the retirement from Zverev. So he's playing well, but he hasn't used a lot of energy to get here. Obviously a much younger man, almost 10 years younger. Decent forehand. He's got a reasonable pop on his forehand. Shimabukuro, the level he's been playing it suggests that he's capable of winning this match in conditions that aren't great for Mannarino. Needs to play better on the big points than he has done in recent times at this level. But if all that comes together, I think plus 117 is reasonable. So half a point for me on Shimabukuro plus 117 with Bet Rivers. I just think these conditions for Mannarino far from ideal.
Yeah, plus 117 is the price as our first underdog. And that match actually starts this evening. It's 9:20 Eastern time. And you can check out all the different markets available right now on the Bet Rivers app. You sort of touched on the conditions. I didn't go into the conditions there. I should have mentioned the conditions, but you've sort of covered it there. With it's very, very hot, very, very tricky still for the players in the evening session. And there's another match this evening. It's the 8:10 match tonight.
They're all
Eastern
in the
time.
evening.
Yeah, between Rinky Hijikata and Mattia Bellucci. Hijikata is minus 124. Bellucci is even money, plus 100. Spread is half. Total is 22.5. Load of markets again, as usual, on the Bet Rivers app. Bellucci leads head-to-head 1-0 and was in 2024 in Tokyo. And Bellucci won 6-3, 6-1. But he's not in the best of form. He's lost his last 3 matches, including first-round exits in Dallas and Delray Beach. But Hijikata got beat in qualification by Wu here. He got beat by TFO in Delray Beach, and he's only got his place in the draw as a lucky loser. I suppose on current form, I know Hijikata did lose his last match in qualification. He deserves to be at favourite here because Bellucci has been pretty poor in his recent matches that he's played.
It's one of these annoying ones, this, because I quite liked Hijikata. I still do, but I feel like the value's gone in the last hour. It was minus 110 the pair earlier on. There's a lot of reasons to like Hijikata. He's got a very decent main level record against lefties. Bellucci obviously being a lefty. Better than his record against righties by some distance. Hijikata versus lefties at main level, 50% win rate, service points won and return points won, total of 101, which is very respectable indeed. Against all players at main level, 40% win rate and a 96 total. So much better level against left-handers. So if then we move on to compare in the last 10 main level matches, both these guys have played against all players. Hijikata, so this is just recent form really. Hijikata, 40% win rate and a total of 95. Bellucci, 30% win rate, a total of 90. Pretty poor. So again, Hijikata well ahead there. Just breaking down those numbers a bit, Bellucci's only held serve 69% of the time. Hijikata, 77% of the time. Both of them pretty weak on return, both only winning 32% of return points in their last 10 main level matches. And Bellucci, it's the serve, it's a problem for him. He's only winning 58% of his service points. Moving on to what Bellucci's done against the better players on tour in recent times. He's lost 12 of his last 13 matches against top 100 opponents. Hijikata's won 5 of his last 8 against top 100 opponents. And one of the ones he lost was in a final set tiebreak. I think it was against Mpechi Pericard. So all the recent form suggests Hijikata. Hijikata's played a couple of matches here, as you said, to get used to the conditions. All right, he lost to Wu, but it's still an advantage having played on the match court in match conditions rather than not. Bellucci was nowhere near against either Nakashima or Kecmanovic. And the only thing is in his favour is the head-to-head, but there's a big, big question mark over that head-to-head because the circumstances were not great for Hijikata. Hijikata was actually coming off a quarter-final just 2 days before he played Bellucci. 2 days before, he was playing a quarter-final in China. So he had to play that quarter-final. He lost. Then he had to get to Tokyo the very next day and play a 3-hour match against Vukic. So he'd played Hangzhou on the Sunday. Then on the Monday, he'd arrived in Tokyo. Then he played 3 hours against Vukic on that same day and had to play Bellucci the next day. So it's not a massive shock that he was kind of comfortably beaten there. For obviously very difficult conditions with the travelling and the fatigue and all that. So I was going to go with Hijikata, but the price is just dipped a bit. If he does go back to around sort of minus 110, minus 105, then it's a bet. But it's just gone a little bit too short for me now, unfortunately.
Yeah, the money has come for Hijikata here. Sean thinks it's the right move. Will it bounce back? If it bounce back, we recommend a bet. Keep your eyes on the Bet Rivers app to make sure of those latest prices. Our final match over in Acapulco is the match involving the number one seed, and the number one seeds do not have a good record here. It's Alexander Zverev, who is making his reappearance since his incredible semi-final loss at the Australian Open to Carlos Alcaraz, a match that he should have won. He's up against Corentin Moutet, who's coming here on the back. He should have won probably against Tommy Paul in the first round of Delray Beach. Moutet, the enigma that is Corentin Moutet. But he has played Zverev a couple of times. The last time they met in Beijing last year, Zverev won 2-1, but it was a close match. They also played in Stuttgart on the grass, where Zverev comfortably won the first set, but he was 7-6 in a tiebreak in set number 2. And you would expect Zverev to win that match. This time around, though, Zverev is minus 480 with Bet Rivers. Currently, Moutet is plus 350. The spread here is 4.5. I mean, Moutet matches, I think you always want to play on the spread because he goes in and out, wins set 6-2, loses set 6. They're roller coaster bets. The total here is 21.5, which I think a lot of people might be looking at the over at 21.5. And this match starts also at 8:10 this evening Eastern time. A whole host of markets available right now on the Bet Rivers app. I think Zverev could be vulnerable here. I think he's a player that you've just got to get him right. When he fancies it, he's brilliant. When he's not sure and he wants to get out of the place, I think he can put in a bad performance. And I just think that this is the tournament now he's probably regretting signing up to. And Corentin Moutet is the worst possible opponent he can have in round one.
Yeah, it's really not a good situation for Zverev, really, unless he approaches it in the right way mentally, which is questionable. There's a lot of factors. I mean, one is how motivated is he? We've already seen de Minaur fall early, as I suggested he might do here for the appearance money. Lost to Kipson, which you never would call that really for someone like de Minaur. And Zverev has lost 2 of his last 3 matches at this tournament. One to Altmaier, one to Lerner Tien, straight sets, and withdrawn from another one. Although it's technically not a loss, but he didn't play it. He hasn't won a match here in under 22.5 games in any of his last 6 matches at this tournament. I mean, he normally brings his whole family here, chilling in a villa. It's a kind of normally a holiday vibe for him and the family. I don't know whether that's going to work this time, given the circumstances of what's happening. Maybe his family is saying, "Look, I'm not being funny, Sasha, but can we go?" I don't know. That's possible.
I'm sure he could afford a nice villa in Indian Wells.
I'm sure he could
go like for like.
I'm sure he could, yeah. That's an intangible, isn't it? We're kind of guessing a little bit there. But what we do know is that he's likely to be pretty rusty because he's had an ankle problem since the Australian Open and was told to rest it. Didn't play Rotterdam. He was meant to play Rotterdam, didn't. Now he's got an awkward one against Moutet, who does have the game to make life difficult for someone like Zverev in slow conditions. He's an awkward guy, Moutet. Low slices that he likes to bring in, the little spinny shots, the little drop shots. It doesn't give your opponents any rhythm, and Zverev is a player that likes rhythm, and obviously he's not into a match rhythm at the minute because he hasn't played since Australia, for like a month or something. And he was awkward, very awkward for Sasha when they met in Beijing only about 5 or so months ago, back last September. Moutet managed to find a way to lose because he won the totals of that match 104-96. He won 5 more points in the match as well and lost, which is kind of standard for Corentin Moutet, I suppose. But the numbers are very encouraging for him, actually. He won more on first serve than Zverev did that day. 69% first serve points won for Moutet that day against 63% for Zverev. It's kind of slow conditions there as well. But there's a lot of encouragement for Moutet in that match and the previous one they played on grass. I remember that one because it was in Stuttgart and I had Moutet to win a set and he should have won the second set, ended up losing it in a tiebreak. The only worry really about Moutet is possibly fitness and form because he's not played much this year because of injury. But he looked okay, as you said, against Tommy Paul in Delray Beach. He actually led 3-1 in the deciding set there and started cramping, actually. And in the end, I don't know whether you remember, but instead of, when most players cramp, they call for some pickle juice. these days. That's what they tend to do. Not Moutet. Went for a Coke instead.
Stella for me. Stella for me.
Well, that would have been interesting.
You're a Magnus. You have a Magnus.
Have you found Magnus, by the way, in Dubai yet?
Do you know what? We haven't. I haven't done anything. You've
not been there yet.
Got up, had a bit of breakfast, went for a swim, done a couple
Let
of
me
videos.
know later.
Thank you. Paula's out. She's out. She's gone to the gym. She's gone everywhere. I'm grafting.
Fair enough. Well, when you do,
what they got.
When you do find out, it'll be very interesting. Anyway, I've gone off at a tangent. He didn't have pickle juice. He had Coke instead, Coca-Cola, I should say. It didn't really work, did it? He ended up losing the match in the final set. But the fact that he's out there competing again, it shows that he's fit. I just think this will be a really tricky match for Zverev. I'm kind of torn between over 21.5 games at -110 or Moutet plus 3.5 at plus 140. I'm kind of siding with the latter.
That's for the price is doing that for you more than that. Then it's just the price of it, isn't it? Really,
it could be. Yeah. The other thing is, it could be one of them horrible ones where it ends up under, like Moutet wins it in 21 games or something, or 20 games or something like that. Then you'd be sick as a dog. So I don't know. I don't know what you think about this one. It's either the overs at -110 over 21.5 or Moutet plus 3.5 at plus 140. Those are the two options.
I think I think the overs is a bet. I actually quite like Moutet on the money line personally, because I do think there's a fact that a lot of these players want to get out of Mexico. I just what does he care about? You know, he's number one seed, he's made a load of money, been given a load of appearance money, and I think he'll come there, do his honour, duty, and then get out of there and get to Indian Wells. That would be my way of thinking it. So I think instead of betting the 3.5, I'll just bet Moutet on the handicap, because sort of spread. Because if it got quite tight, if my theory is right, he'd win. But I do think that you could have a tie break here quite easily, and I think Moutet could throw anything away from a winning position, as we've seen already this season. So I would lean towards the over, but I would be more gun ho on the money line personally. But that's my approach.
Okay.
I don't know if they help you or not, really.
It could do, yeah, because I mean we could have half a point on the overs and half a point on the money line.
Yeah, dude, let's do that. Let's do that.
Then we're sort of covered both ways. I think that's probably the best way to go. I think you're right. I think there's I haven't obviously heard about any quotes or anything from Alex de Minaur, but losing to Kipson, it does make you think, doesn't it? Even if they're there for the appearance money, generally they don't lose in the first match. Generally, the second match, or possibly the third match, when they feel like they've given some value to the tournament for the appearance money, is generally where that would happen, rather than the first match. So, I mean, it's good for me, because Davidovich-Fokina is in that section that we've got, and he came through last night. So
he's going to be motivated, because he wants to win his first tournament, so he's perfect. Yeah. But I think if you, I mean, I know geographically it's a long way away, but my theory would be that I know that I would say, so if it was any other tournament other than Indian Wells for next week, I'd probably stay there. But with Indian Wells, big tournament and a lovely place to go, I'd be getting a jet out there as quickly as I possibly could. That'd be my.
I mean, Zverev will want some match practice, obviously, because he's not played since the Australian Open. There's that factor as well. He will want that match practice, but he is rusty. He is rusty, so he would be absolutely delighted if he came in and won this 6-3, 6-4. He'd be delighted. I just not sure I see it happening. So yeah, we'll recap at the end, but yeah, we'll go for the split stakes on that, I think.
Go for the split stakes. We do have one other tournament this week over in Santiago. Before we go into that, remember we have a Champions League promo with you. If you bet with Bet Rivers in New York or New Jersey, you can take advantage of a Champions League bonus bet from Betting Weekly. Enter the bonus code BW216 for a $10 bonus bet to use on Champions League knockout round matches. That code again is BW216, and it's available to Bet Rivers bettors in New York and New Jersey. The offer ends on February 25th. If I'm not mistaken, that's tomorrow. Must be 21 or over. Eligible players only. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE HOPE-NY. So make sure you take advantage of that Champions League as well, coming back this evening and tomorrow. Your last chance to take advantage of that offer if you are based in New York or New Jersey. Santiago is where we're heading to now, where the weather is pretty hot, pretty sticky, and the conditions are pretty well. They're not pretty slow. They're quite good. They're at your altitude, so the ball will fly around a bit. So the clay dogs could be opposable.
Yeah, I mean, it's the conditions. Basically it's 30 degrees everywhere, apart from where I am at the minute. Although, as I said, it's not too bad today. But yeah, 31 degrees. Supposed to be tomorrow. A little windy, actually, 15-mile-an-hour winds, which won't help the big servers. But we've got a big server, not Ugo Carabelli, but Hanfmann against Ugo Carabelli. Very interesting match, this one. The altitude king that is Yannick Hanfmann against the clay grinder in Ugo Carabelli. I said on Sunday that Hanfmann might be the one to come through what was a really sort of questionable second quarter of the draw. If I can find the draw. Where is it? There it is. So many draws.
Well, while you look for that, let's give you the odds. I mean, Hanfmann is minus 130. He's minus 132 with Bet Rivers. Carabelli is plus 106. Spreads 1.5. Total 22.5. And if you're looking at the head-to-head, or you want to get with the head-to-head record, well, you've got to look quite hard for him because they've never played before on clay this year. Carabelli is 7 wins from his 9 matches. Hanfmann is 2-1. But as Sean said, the German loves it at altitude, and Santiago has played at altitude.
Yeah, so it is Echeverry. We talked about this on Sunday. I said keep an eye on these players after see what happens in the Rio final, and it was another epic grind, wasn't it? In the Rio final, Echeverry ended up winning it in about 3 hours and then pulled out. So it is a good situation for Hanfmann. If he beats Ugo Carabelli, he got the winner of Prismic against either the wild card or the lucky loser. So it could well be Hanfmann that does come through this Q2. He is the altitude king. He does go well at altitude. He's made finals in Kitzbühel, made finals in Gstaad, 2 other semi-finals in Kitzbühel, semi-finals in Chengdu on hard, where there's about 500 metres of altitude. He trains in Munich, where there's roughly the same 500 metres in altitude. But looking at his numbers in Santiago, you wouldn't expect what you're seeing here, which is because it's the return of serve that stood out for him in Santiago, Hanfmann. He's actually winning 42% of return points here, which is very, very big for a guy that's, primarily a big server. And he's only winning 69.7% on first serve. I wouldn't expect those. I'd expect more on first serve and fewer return points. But he has faced plenty of weak servers at this tournament. Pedro Martinez a couple of times. Correa. Lajovic was terrible yesterday and got bageled. Kobayashi Baena. He's played a lot of pretty weak servers. The only big server he's ever faced here was Jarry when Jarry was fit. I mean, Jarry's a ghost of that player at the minute due to various issues. And he lost that match against Nicolas Jarry. Now he's got another relatively weak server in Ugo Carabelli, but Ugo Carabelli is playing well this clay swing. He won the Rosario Challenger. Then with no rest, he made the quarterfinals in his home tournament in Buenos Aires. He lives right by that tournament, does Ugo Carabelli. So no shock that he lost early in Rio, having put a big effort into Rosario and Buenos Aires. And we've seen with players like Baez, who's got a brilliant record here, and also Pedro Martinez, who plays well here. You don't need to be a power hitter to go well at this tournament because the thin air does help the less big hitters get more out of their shots and more out of their serves. And that's been proven very much with Baez. There's nothing in between these two in their last 10 main level matches on clay. Both got service points won and return points won, totals of 100. The layers really are going with Hanfmann's record here, which is fair enough, I suppose. 60% win rate, service points won and return points won, total of 106. So, very good record here. But Ugo Carabelli has actually won more points on first serve in Santiago than Hanfmann has, which is, again, a big surprise. 74.4% first serve points won here, Ugo Carabelli, against 69.7 for Hanfmann. And when Ugo Carabelli has faced big servers, even though he's been a massive underdog, he's been competitive, very competitive early on. He's played Opelka, Shelton, and Petchi Pericard on grass, hard, and clay, and he's gone set 1 over 10.5 in all 3 of the completed matches he's played against those guys on those surfaces as a huge underdog. I think that's probably the way to go here. It's certainly one option. Set 1 over 10.5 games, I believe, is around about plus 250. Or perhaps a slightly stronger lean is Hanfmann to win the match, but over 22.5 games in the match, which is plus 240 with Bet Rivers. I don't think this is going to be easy for Hanfmann. Ugo Carabelli, I think, will make a good account of himself here. Be a struggle for Hanfmann, but I think he should get through. But yeah, those are the two ways that I would play this.
There are a selection of bets. We're going to give you a little bit of a recap of them in a second. Just one quick question for you, Sean. You're betting over 10.5 games there in Dubai today, where we insert one. When we're looking at Dubai today, there's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's been 10 completed sets, 11 completed sets. How many over 10.5?
There often isn't many tie breaks. No, I'm not looking because I've got Santiago on here. I would suggest knowing Dubai, because it doesn't produce many tie breaks normally. I don't know whether it's just the wind, the sort of the factor of the night matches. It doesn't produce many, so I'm guessing not many.
One over 10.5, and it did go to a tie break as well. So 1 over 10.5. I hope that all changes, because I've gone the overs set 1 and overs in the Mensik v Herkash match a little bit later on. So.
That's pretty likely.
24 and a half in the line was then. You could bet plus 125 over 10 offset 1. I thought it was a bit value.
Yeah, I think you're right, because Petchy Pericod went 6-7-7, 6-7-6, didn't he, yesterday? Memory serves me rightly. Halise and Draper at night, really, really late at night, they went 7-6 in the first set. So I guess it depends on a number of factors, but it's not normally a bet I would take on in Santiago. It's just going to be a lean, as I said. But the fact that Ugo Carabelli's got better serving stats here than Hanfmann is, and the fact that he's been competitive against big servers pretty much every time he's played them, would suggest that bet is all right. But as I said, Hanfmann to win it and overs is maybe the slightly stronger one.
So there you have it. Before Sean gives you a quick recap of his bets, just a reminder of that Champions League promo. If you bet with Bet Rivers in New York or New Jersey, you can take advantage of a Champions League bonus bet from Betting Weekly. Enter the bonus code BW216 for a $10 bonus bet to use on Champions League knockout round matches. That code again is BW216 and is available to Bet Rivers bettors in New York and New Jersey. The offer ends tomorrow, February 25th. You must be 21 or over. Eligible players only. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's HOPENY. Sean, give us your bets, official plays for tonight's action over in Acapulco.
Yeah, we're going to take a couple of small bets in Acapulco. We're going to take half a point on Shimabukuro on the money line against Mannarino, plus 117. That is Bet Rivers. And we're going to take a couple of bets in the Zverev match against Corentin-Moutet. We're going to take over 21.5 games for half a point. That's plus 110 with Bet Rivers, and a little bit the same, half a point on the money line on Moutet, plus 350.
And remember, tomorrow I will cover all the action here in Dubai. I'll be at the event courtside. Loads of exclusive content on our socials, on Instagram at Because We Win, and you'll be able to see all my previews on the matches there as well. Myself and Sean will be back tomorrow. Remember that offer, and it's Champions League tonight and tomorrow, and we'll have that covered on our Betting Weekly live show. Today it'll be myself and Steve Wiss at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. Tomorrow Steve will be joined by Will White, and don't forget Doug and Mike at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, covering all the sports merited stateside, who have been absolutely crushing it on their daily doubles. They've been put their European counterparts to shame, cashing every day on the daily doubles, so make sure you keep on top of that. And as well as that, the WTA show with Tim Dennis. There are still live bets still live. Yes, this morning he woke up to a plus 325 winner on the money line, and obviously we had the winner last week in Jess Pegula at 10-1, our fourth winning pick of 2026. So hit that subscribe button, join us, be notified of every time anything drops. Remember the offer. Sean, I'll catch you tomorrow. We'll speak again tomorrow, and nice and early. And as I said, you can catch me courtside in Dubai at Because We Win on our socials on Instagram. Have a good day. Good luck with your bets tonight. Take care. See you tomorrow.